This guy and I go back, well, since I first started playing Paragon. He's been kind of the bane of my existence. I like him when I play him, but I really dislike him when I don't. I'm talking about Murdock. He was very prevalent for a very long time, before his nerf and before Yin and Serath really kind of got onto the scene, and now Revenant. So in this build, I'm trying to make him more relevant. I'm trying to bring up his DPS while still making him a relevant playmaker in today's meta. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a hero build and guide. I am Sylphin. So we are taking a look at the Merovingian. It's kind of an inspiration from the guys from the Matrix. The second one who could kind of go through walls. Really the only inspiration for that is this blink shot, to be honest with you. So the whole theme of this build is a little bit more damage than you otherwise would get. Yeah, we have to spend some from the blink shot, but otherwise I think Murdock really kind of needs that. So you start with the Warlord because this increases his DPS. I've done the math for that. It's very, very solid. That is what I would recommend. You start with a cast token and a healer token in the off lane if you need that sustain, or just go straight into a Madstone Gem. After that Madstone Gem or the healer tokens, you go into the Sage's Ward, go into Flashfire Piston, very mathematically correct, into this Madstone Gem while you're still getting that good burst potential from the Sage's Ward and the Madstone Gem. To Flashfire Piston into this Madstone Gem. Then you go into a blink shot kind of whenever you need it. You get this blink shot whenever you need it as you keep it for the rest of the game. Then you go into a little bit of crit before you get your crit bonus, which also has a little bit of attack speed. Again, very, very nice. It doesn't have lifesteal. This is it's a very kind of high risk, high reward thing with Murdock. We're going to deal a lot of damage in the late game, a lot, and you're going to have that global ultimate. So if you can manage to snowball with Murdock with this build, ooh, I think this will be awesome. After you get this Blast Harness, you finish off your crit with this Spear of the Rift Hunter, going into this Whirling Wand for that very important attack speed that he needs, and then finish it off with this stronger Sage's Ward for a ton of damage. So Murdock is a very interesting carry in that he hits hard, but just a little slower than most other carries, as I'm sure you can maybe tell here with this early game footage. Great power scaling in 1.0, starting out with 58 damage. A couple cast tokens on Murdock really hurts in the early game. He increases his basic attack increases by 2 each hero level, so he ends up hitting like a truck. 86, just not that fast. 1.35 attack speed per hero. 1.35 second cooldown on his basic attack, and he only gets 1.2 attack speed per hero level. So unfortunately, he naturally doesn't hit that fast. Not you know, which is why he needs some attack speed. But otherwise, he's pretty darn good. Now, whoever you're laning up against in your safe lane depends on what your first ability is. You can start off with your right click, which is what I got, which is his move along ability. You knock back people, you know, a fair distance, dealing a little bit of damage, 40 in the early game, all the way to 160 in the late game. Only 0.2 power scaling, really not that. You don't use it for the damage at all. If you get a kill with it, it's hilarious. With a cooldown 21 seconds in the early game to 12 in the late game. So upgrading it, yeah, you definitely shave off some time with it, but usually you don't need it that often. So that is, you can start off with that, or you can start off with your E, or your static trap. This is a trap that you place down. It has a 3.25 second activation time, so you can't put it down and trap somebody. You have to kind of preemptively put it down, preferably maybe behind you or somewhere that you know it can just be a trap. And it has a 1.1 at level 1, or a 2-second route at level 4. Once you get it to level 3, you can actually place 2 traps, and at level 4, you can place 3 traps. And they all last either 30 seconds at level 1 to 60 seconds at level 4. So you can see it gets buffed a lot the more you upgrade it, with still a 20-second cooldown, dealing a little bit of damage, 40 or 100, 42 all the way up to 100. So that trap is really good. Something like this Greystone, personally, with Greystone, you can just make sure he doesn't leap onto you, and then once he, you know, so that you force him to leap onto you, and once he just leaps onto you, you can just push him back with your move along, and you're a-okay. Somebody maybe like the Countess, I would personally maybe go with the static trap, place it down, just stand in it, so that it forces her to really kind of, you know, either poke at you with her E, or just kind of blink on top of you, but because you're standing on your static trap, she'll just get trapped. So you can really kind of, it's up to you whether you use your static trap as a little safe place so that you can kite people around, or just get your move along. Or if you feel super duper safe, you can just start with your Q, which is your buckshot. It deals 60 to 195 damage at level 4 and shreds armor. That's a really important part of it, is that it shreds 5 to 20 basic armor from enemy units and towers as well. So there you go. There's my move along. I kind of move him away. Maybe not preferably. Should have moved him back, not maybe to the side, but that's okay. Got him away. That is a-okay. Buckshot, really, really important, because that shred in team fights or taking down towers really, really helps. And you can use it to animation cancel your basic attack. So because Murdock hits like a truck, you can actually basic attack into a quick buckshot into another basic attack for actually a large amount of damage. It's actually really surprising. I'm always surprised when a Murdock gets that combo off. It's like, whoa, youch, as it hurts. So that's a very important part of the buckshot as well. Basic attack into a very quick buckshot to animation cancel that. That's kind of him. It depends what you want to upgrade from here. You can see here I went with my buckshot. I felt like the trap was good enough. You know, having just one weak trap and my move along was just fine. I thought maybe I could poke down the Greystone and the tower just a little bit more with the buckshot. It does almost double in damage and the shred value. So I thought that was really valuable. I went with that. It's really up to you. If you need, if you need the longer route, the longer trap time in your E, it's really up to you what you get to upgrade. Now his ultimate. His ultimate is absolutely fantastic, and it is called Long Arm of the Law. Boom! Absolutely nailed this one right through this Narbash to secure the kill all the way from across the map. It is a global ultimate. As you can see, there I am way over there. Completely nailed that Narbash. It's hard to land. It's pretty hard. I really like the fact that I can reduce my sensitivity on my mouse with the click of a button, so I can do that to really help me aim with it. It's absolutely fantastic to secure those kills and really kind of help keep Murdock's presence on the map. He is one of the weaker carries. He's second last in DPS to last being Twin Blast. So you have to really kind of use that long arm of the law to stay relevant in the CP department, maybe kind of snowball a bit, and just make sure that, you know, you stay a good carry for your team. Now, it has 0.75 power scaling, so it definitely can hurt with a lot of power. Dealing 180 damage to 300 here at level 3. The cooldown is 90 to 70. Nothing special. Not the longest for sure. With 75 mana cost. So it's a really interesting ultimate that also totally ignores armor. So it does true damage. It does 180. It does 300 true damage. No matter the armor that the enemy has. So it does true damage. Really interesting part of it. You kind of get used to how much you can take, and you know how much health you can take off of the target. So you can kind of call the shots. You're like, I don't think my sniper will work. sometimes it will. You kind of get used to exactly how much damage it will do. Now, one of the weaknesses of Murdock, even though he has a trap and a pushback, he has nothing that helps his own mobility, which is why we're getting the blink shot. You can see here, I've gotten my Madstone gem, my first one. I went into my ward, went into my flashfire piston, but I didn't really feel like I needed the blink shot just yet. Definitely could have used it there to be safe, but then again, not sure if that ward that we have there wasn't there at the time. You got to be careful with Murdock. He is pretty easily gankable by pretty much anybody, especially if you can bait out the use of his move along, or you just got to play around your trap. Your trap can be really reliable if you remember to set it out when you are in vulnerable positions. So here comes along this Greystone, and I choose not to use my well, I do move my move along there, but watch this burst potential here. Basic attack into a buckshot, boom, basic. Oh, it hurts. It's really, really effective. Especially on the Greystone, it's so easy to do that after his ultimate works. You can really, really hurt people. That's why I choose to go with the ward, with the Madstone gem, and then the ward, just so you got, like, you know, 12 CP of power just sitting there, just able to really kind of feed in that burst in the early game, maybe to secure some kills or just kind of, you know, win those engagements. Then you go into Flashfire Piston, and then this second Madstone gem, which, as you can see, I probably should have went into the blink shot. Now that we have our blink shot, we can secure the plays and also have a bit of a safety net here. You can see that burst there on the Countess is real, and my snipe almost gets that Narbash. Almost, as I do manage to hit it. That's just how it is sometimes. We do have to play safe, though, because we don't have lifesteal. I mean, we're not even at 30 CP yet. But for the rest of the build, you have to play safe. At this point, I'm like, oh, guys, come on, man, be careful. But you know, that's just it. You have to be careful, especially with this build. I'm trying to increase the damage output of one of these weaker carries here, just to make sure that, you know, he's just as relevant maybe as a Serath or a Yin, or, you know, or a Sparrow, something like that. I know he brings a different thing to the table with his global influence, but still, in those team fights, which are very, very important to secure these very important map objectives, just trying to increase his relevance in any way that I can. So here we are in the barely kind of midway through the mid game, really, not even early mid game, getting Orb Prime already and pushing for the win, believe it or not. Yeah, for the win. Again, that buckshot can work on towers, completely destroy that towers, shred that armor for my friendly team, and we do it again here for this Greystone. Basic attack, buckshot, completely destroy him. Obviously, I mean, there's 5 people with Orb Prime on him, but still. So at this point, I should be putting a trap down. Always be putting those traps down, just so that you have some place safe to hide, because again, no lifesteal in this build. And he is vulnerable. He has no, you know, no getaway, no easy escape like a Serath or a Yin. You gotta be careful with your Murdock. So that global influence, you really have to capitalize on it. That, I think, is one of the keys with Murdock to not only secure the kill, and create a numbers advantage for your team, to get siege advantage, stuff like that. That is incredibly important and valuable, but also to give you CP, so that you yourself can be ahead of maybe the enemy carry that can't do that stuff, and just be powerful relative to everybody else. Now, again, you might be thinking, that's not really a good showcase of Murdock. That was the best showcase of Murdock in the past couple weeks that I've had with him. I played him many, many games, and that honestly is one of the best showcase. I don't know if I'm just not a good Murdock player, but hey, this is the best I have to offer. So the cards you didn't see there was the blink shot into this Spear of the Rift Hunter. After those 2 Master Gems and the Flashfire Piston, into this Spear of the Rift Hunter, 9-point card, fairly easy to get, into this Blast Harness, into this Spear of the Rift Hunter, and then finally upgrading your Weak Sages board for this. Final build, Blast Harness, Blink Shot, Whirling Wand, oh, and this Whirling Wand, sorry, before, after this Spear of the Rift Hunter, going into this Whirling Wand for the very important Vicious Kinetic, and then this Sage's Ward. Final build, Blast Harness, Blink Shot, Whirling Wand, Spear of the Rift Hunter, this Spear of the Rift Hunter, and this strong Sage's Ward. By not getting lifesteal, we actually bring Murdock up in line to somebody like Sparrow, to somebody to somebody like Revenant. Revenant has a very different sort of effect on the battlefield, but by not getting this lifesteal, we bring him up in line with the the stronger carries. Not with the hyper carries, but just the stronger carries like Yin and Serath. So that is kind of the thinking here. This maybe makes him more relevant in the late game. So you're just hitting like an absolute truck, the burst, the basic attack into a buckshot, into another basic attack. Yikes! Oh, really hurts. So that is this is my take on Murdock, trying to make him relevant. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this deck. Please, ladies and gentlemen, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it to the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.